My grandfather was coached my dad in high school, Painesville, Riverside, east side of Cleveland, and I never got to meet him. He actually passed away of a heart attack 15 days before I was born, so it was kind of cool how it worked out. You know, he passed away, but my dad was able to. I got to kind of come into his life, and so if I get to coach, I'd be a third-generation coach, starting with my grandfather, into my dad, and then to me. So like I said, I never got to meet him or anything, but it's kind of his legacy that I keep hearing, and that kind of pushes me to continue on the Shafer tradition of coaching. My dad taught me how to throw. He played quarterback in college. He taught me how to throw a football probably right when I got out of the womb. I mean, I remember that's the one thing that had always come easy to me, is just throwing a football, throwing a nice spiral.
When he was little, we would collect. We'd have to take the quarter. I think it was 2 quarters, and go to the grocery store and try and collect all of the NFL football helmets. He was probably like 3 or 4, same type of thing. I think we got them all. It was a happy day when we got that last one.
So I've moved 7 times overall. I went to 4 middle schools in 3 years. So I've been around the block. I've lived East Coast, West Coast, a little bit in between. So
it really became about kind of how we presented the move. The kids would feed off of us. So we always tried to make an adventure and make it exciting, and a new place, new things, new ideas, new people, new friends. Not to say that it was always easy, because it was, it's hard to say goodbye, but I think it's kind of made them who they are today.
I mean, the game stays the same wherever you are. There's X's and O's, but it was cool to just grow up around football in different college towns, and then getting to play in different leagues, different kids. It was awesome. It definitely helped me make friends, and kind of, moving, it was tough getting into a friend group, but sports, especially football, made it easy.
Wolf had a lot of success and had a lot of fun playing baseball when he was younger. They had some great teams, so that sense of team and that sense of teamwork, all those things he was finding in a different sport. To me, it was always less about the sport and more about the activity and an opportunity to be working towards a common goal with other kids. There was a point in time where I remember talking to Wolf about, hey, you don't have to play football just because your dad's a football coach, and it's got to be your choice to do it because you have fallen in love with pieces and parts of the sport.
Yeah, sophomore year is when I kind of had a choice to make. It was between me and another kid to get the job on JV playing QB1. So that summer I kind of made that decision. I was like, I'm going to go and take this thing. So I worked at it, and kind of took off from there. I kind of took it upon myself that when I realized I wanted to do this high school football thing. I mean, me and my buddies, we got after it, and we were like, we're gonna do this thing the right way, and we worked at it, and our life was, it was FM football. Every decision we made, we had FM football in the back of our minds. We took a lot of pride in that program, and that's why I think my love for football is even stronger than it was before.
Shafer uncorks a deep ball, and he has Kessler. 40 yards for 6.
Junior year is one of the last games of the season. I broke my back, the L4 and L5, my lower back, and I was out for a week, and then I tried to play the next week, and it was rough.
Like the idiot coach I am at times, I was like, you need to suck it up, quit being a baby, get going, push him, all this other stuff. He couldn't get out of bed, and I'm on him to get out, hey, get your butt going. So we have a meltdown, and then we get him in, do a real MRI, and I find out he's got 2 breaks in his back. Felt horrible. Fast forward ahead, they put him in a brace from his neck down past his groin, And we didn't know or think that he was going to be able to play football anymore.
And when that happened, we found out. I was told by doctors that I wasn't gonna be able to play ball again, and so that was definitely the lowest part of my life. I mean, I was going through not having to, in my mind I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a great senior season. I'm gonna go play football somewhere and then hopefully get into coaching. And then when I found out that I wasn't gonna be able to do that, I didn't know what to. I mean, having something taken away from you like that is devastating, and it really forced me to kind of step back and see, look at myself and be like, all right, what's important here?
Me seeing how much Wolf loved the game and was devastated, I said, all right, well, let me do my research. So I got on, did a ton of research about this injuries that this happened with professional athletes and so on and so forth. And it's a pretty common injury that there are plenty of professional athletes who've gone on to play.
Kind of a miracle happened 2 weeks before our senior season. I went back for my final checkup, and the doctor said that, hey, if you're not in any pain, I mean, you can take a shot at this. I mean, you're gonna have some probably pretty bad back problems when you get older. You have an old man back by the time you're 35, 40, but you can give it a shot. So I was like, hell yeah, man, I'm getting after it, and I haven't missed a beat, haven't missed a game yet. And my dream had always been to play college football. That was my one dream. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do after school. But I knew my one dream ever since I can remember was to play college ball. Didn't matter what division. It came down to Ithaca and Cortland, which is ironic.
It was a neat process being on the other side of it, to listen to him talk about what he liked about a school or what he liked about a coaching staff. And, for Wolf, it came down to a couple schools, basically. And I think everybody was betting on the other school. Because we had a bunch of kids in-house that had gone to this other school, the other school, and they all thought that he was going to go play at the school that had these ugly red and white jerseys. And then Wolf came home from a game where the red and white school played the blue and white school, and he basically said to me, Dad, I really need to go see this blue and white school because I really like the way their coaches coached.
We lost him to Ithaca, and I knew we lost him. I followed him on Twitter, and Wolf, I don't know if he still does it, but he used to tweet all the time. And we used to follow everyone who we were recruiting, and when Wolf tweeted that he was at the Cortica football game, I knew we lost him.
I can't wait for the next year's season. I just want to come in and help this team win, whether it's me playing quarterback or being on the clipboard, whatever, I just want to get to that EA championship again and beyond. So I'm just excited to get after it with this year's team. I always wanted to do something different. I always saw myself doing something and maybe being a pilot. I was always interested in aviation and that sort of thing. But once I really kind of understood that I wanted to do something that I didn't see as work, it was more something I get to wake up in the morning and I think I love going to work. Then I realized, okay, I want to coach, because coaching football, you get to wake up in the morning, you're doing football stuff all day. You kidding me? It's not work. So that's kind of when I realized it.
Wolf is very much involved with his dad and learning how to coach, learning the coaching profession, everything from recruiting to staff to knowing more than just its quarterback position, knowing defenses, certainly which will help him as a player. But Wolf is really, he's all in right now in terms of being a coach. That's what he wants to do. He wants to coach at the college level, and that's where he's going.
When Scott and Wolf went to the football convention, it was kind of a joke, like, oh, you're going to let your kid get into coaching, get into this crazy business, and, I think it's just really more of a joke because people know how much energy and work it is.
The toughest thing about this job is that you have to sacrifice a lot of things that a lot of people don't have to sacrifice. Events, opportunities, relationships. you have to say goodbye to a lot of people who you care about and that you love. That's the biggest challenge.
You know, you just never know. You could be out of a job, and you know, when my kids would go to school and say, oh, you know, this staff got fired, or they talk about being fired so flippantly, and people, you could see the look in their eyes like, fired? Like, to the rest of the world, that's awful. And in our business, it's like, oh, okay, well, on to the next job. Or so I think that's part of why people are always like, oh, crazy business, crazy hours. But I don't know. It's made our life what it is. I can't imagine it not being, you know, part of it.
It's a competitive business, which is a good thing. That's something I want to be involved in. So that's probably the main obstacle that I see as of now is just competition. But you know, you're gonna have that in any profession. So I'm excited to, you know, face it head on.
You know, my father was a coach. I'm a coach, and if Wolf does continue to want to be a coach someday, it's pretty cool. No different than it's pretty cool for third generation plumber because you can talk to each other at Thanksgiving and Christmas and come back home and speak that same nomenclature to one another that other people would say, what are they talking about? For me, it's more to do about why he wants to coach, and I hope it's to influence young people to not only enjoy the game that we both loved, or me and my father loved, Wolf, but to, you know, as corny as it sounds, try to make a difference in young people's lives through education.
Yeah, he obviously has a passion for the game, but the passion for people and the kids he gets to work with, he's in it for multiple reasons, and one of the things that really attracts me to it is how he'll take kids in, and he doesn't see him as a coach-player relationship necessarily, but more of a even a father-son type relationship. He treats his players like they're one of his own, and that's something I want to be able to emulate. And you got to find what got you here, and sometimes step back and like, all right, why do I love this game so much? And it's kind of easy for me because I can look back and like, man, I really had a good childhood growing up, and I really was passionate about this game, and not even the X's and O's aspect, but the atmosphere of it all and the culture. And I want to give back to the game of football. And in terms of on the field, I want to be able to contribute and be someone that has that leaves a legacy on the game, because I love what the game has done to me, and I love what the game does for other people. So I want to be able to contribute in that sense.